Remake than probably in the original.
Well, with the remake, you got to see the backstory, how he became his doctor and everything. But I kind of felt like with the original Halloween, it felt more thematic and cinematic with how the film was shot with a bunch of wide shots, and a lot of horror films weren't being done in that style at the time, and it's very classy film compared to today's stuff. But
but my biggest concern is the old. When I watched them back to back, I felt like the old film was tame compared to the gore and the blood that was in Rob Zombie's remake. So I agree it's a classic, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe some of the stuff just felt like it felt tame. Like I said earlier, I made the point that you didn't get to see as much of the blood in the original version compared to the remake. So I think even though it's a good movie, I think some people might find the original very tame compared to what we got now.
Well, I don't think it takes gore to make a good film or a good horror movie in that matter. It really depends on the imagination behind the film. But with the remake, it seems like they replaced good suspense from the original with loud noises, fast edits, and sort of the shaky cam and lots of blood. Yeah. And when it comes down to that, I really wasn't into the film. I never really felt there was much suspense, and it was kind of empty. And getting to the climaxes of both films have very different endings. And the original ending of the remake of Halloween, when I'd seen the ending in theaters, I literally laughed into the credits because I thought it was so ridiculous and overkill, and it didn't really leave it as open like the original did.
Well, I watched the original ending on the deleted scenes of the remake. I thought that was horrible compared to the one that was in the film. I mean, I think having Laurie running from him in the house I thought was very good and suspenseful, but I mean I think the original ending that Rob Zombie had that's in the deleted scene, it's just too simple. I thought just too simple, and I liked how they milked it a little longer in the new ending.
I think they were almost trying to make it seem like the movie was about Laurie Strode, whereas the other ending where they just sort of shoot Michael Myers on the porch was more of like being about a doctor and his patient.
Yeah. One thing I didn't like about the remake, now I watched the director's cut, so I understand the scene I'm gonna talk about is not in the original theatrical cut. Why was that rape scene in there? Because it just felt like it was thrown in there just for shock value, and it didn't add anything.
That's Rob Zombie touch for you right there. Yeah, just like the annoying dialogue, he just likes to throw bizarre, sexual perversion like that in his movie just for shock, and I don't even know why.
It didn't add anything to the story, really.
It was really pointless, and in the theatrical version, he just kills a bunch of guards and gets out that way. And I like that much better. It was quicker, it wasn't uncomfortable, and I just felt, why are these redneck guys raping some girl in Rob Zombie's room?
Yeah, because
in Michael Myers' room. It just made no sense.
Yeah, that reminds me of two Quentin Tarantino films, Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill, where there's rape scenes involved. I thought those came out of left field too, and here it felt like it came out of left field, and it didn't add anything in the Halloween remake either. So I don't know what is up with people in rape scenes. I don't think they really add anything and all that.
Not really. I don't know why he put that in there. It's just bizarre. But the remake, it seemed to me the remake was always shifting its focus. You never really have one solid hook throughout the entire film. I mean, once Michael Myers becomes the Michael Myers we know with the mask and the mechanic jumpsuit, he sort of goes back into how he is in the original, just sort of walking around, killing, and there is some depth to him because Laurie Strode is his sister, which is interesting that they put that hook in there because in the original John Carpenter version, it was just Michael Myers killing random babysitters. He wasn't related to her in that until the second Halloween came around, and then they revealed that secret, and I just felt a little gimmicky and sort of Rob Zombie was sort of obeying the rules of the franchise, and hopefully with Halloween 2 we'll see if he breaks the mold.
Okay, so you say between the two versions you would recommend the original more?
I would recommend the original any day over the Rob Zombie remake. But I would say if you haven't seen the remake and you want to, I would say watch the original first and then watch the remake, and leave it up to yourself.
Yeah, I would definitely say that more. And if someone was putting me against the wall and saying, "Okay, which version of Halloween do you want?" I would probably say the original. But again, there was things I liked in the original and things I liked in the remake. But there were some things I didn't like in the original and stuff. I definitely recommend watching them back to back and making your own comparisons, because I kind of liked a little bit of both, but I didn't like a little bit of both. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I love the original, but the remake was disappointing, and I find remakes to be pointless anyways.
Well, sometimes that's true. There's some cases where the original version is good. I think why they remake movies is I think they feel that the studios feel that no one's watching the original film anymore because it's old, so they say, you know what, we still own this property. Why don't we remake it with new actors,
Or they like to use the word reimagine,
Yeah.
reinvent,
Yeah.
and in some cases it's good, if you're reinventing like an old television show to make it for a film or something like that. But it seems with horror movies it happens all the time, and I'd rather watch something original than something remade.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know this, but I know this is very off topic. But a lot of the Maltese Falcon with Humphrey Bogart, that's a remake. Warner Brothers first filmed the movie in 1930, and it was an okay version. Then they redid it again in 1936 as a screwball comedy. That didn't work. They remade it a third time with John Huston directing, and that was a great film. Sometimes remakes can be better than the original film. I think remakes should only be used if the original film was bad to begin with and improve it. But for some reasons, the studios just want to just say, you know what? No one's probably watching this old version anymore. Let's remake it and make some money off of it, and they don't care.
Connected to another remake that came out this year, Friday the 13th. That's another one where that's easy to reinvent because essentially all the Friday the 13th movies are the same, and that's my opinion. Or the Halloween movies, the Halloween franchise was getting tired and worn out and really ridiculous, in my opinion, if you've watched the later installments of them. So a remake could sometimes help reboot a franchise, but with Halloween, I'm kind of split as to it's not really good, it's not really bad, it's kind of in the middle for me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to leave a comment, tell us what your favorite version of Halloween is and which one you disliked. We greatly appreciate that. And thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next edition of R&B Reviews.